this was the game plan. So kill two birds with one stone. It's as simple as that. So it all boils down to political strategy. For now, they'll surely come out, beat their chest, but at the end of the day, the real men, they don't come out very early. Because they are still reaching out.
Okay. Dr. Ezeribe, recently it's been going around on social media, Twitter, people calling out Mr. Peter Obi to declare his interest. Some of the questions coming out on social media is, will Peter Obi presidential campaign be a social movement like NSAS if he declares?
Thanks very much for that question. I think Peter Obi is more credible than Ojo Carlo, Omahe, and Tinubu that we've seen. I think the young people will accept Peter Obi in the place of any of these people. Yeah. But there are some other things we need to think about. Whether it's going to be as massive as the NSAS protest, no one can actually say, because there are some factors that seem to play out in Nigerian election. Religion seems to be cloud our sense of judgment when it's time to commit Nigerian leadership to the person that will lead us in the next 4 years. We seem to relax that tax to the hands of religion, tribe, and things like that. And you find out that when we start the years, when we start counting down the tenure, the heat will come back to us. Think of the current administration. When sentiments were used to either vote them into power or bring them into power, those sentiments worked. And if you look at the major players in that process, you see that they are all facing the heat. So I think in this 2023 election, the best thing for Nigeria is to sit down. Every Nigerian citizen has to really analyze the candidates, whether it's Peter Obi, whether it's anybody, and decide who we are going to commit the country in his hands in the next 4 years. It's very critical. We have to get this right. If we get it wrong, I promise you that in the next 8 years, people will be eating human beings on the road. We can't walk around, because the problem is the West is moving away from fossil fuel. They are building electric cars. No one is going to be buying crude oil. Okay, so the next president has a lot of work to do to industrialize Nigeria. So it's not like any other election. The person is going to be coming into an economy that is not going to depend on crude oil, whether you like it or not, because that's going to go away. Nobody's going to buy it. They are going to do whatever they like. They're going to drill the oil. The oil is going to sit there. No one is going to buy it. So it's a problem when the government cannot pay salaries. When the government cannot pay salaries, the government cannot, there will be no money in Abuja to share. Okay, that's what we are heading to. So states or anyone that is in the center has to develop ways of running the government, paying salaries, doing all the capital expenditures, and then industrialize the nation. So it's a critical point in Nigerian history. If we get it wrong, that country will crash. And there will be regional wars, there will be religious wars, there's going to be clash on the road, nobody can drive around, including people that went to vote and people that did not vote. So I think it's critical for everyone to make it a point of duty to commit to this election. It is our last chance to get to veer to the right direction. If we get it wrong, we're all going to crash. So coming back to Peter Obi, I think Peter Obi is a very good candidate. If he declares, I think he has shown, some dogged potentialities in Anambra State, where he led. And if you monitor his footsteps, you see that he has some things most politicians don't. But I'm not saying that Peter Obi is the Messiah. There are Nigerians who are talented, who can fix Nigeria. And I think the way I will go about it is to call on anyone who thinks that he can do it to declare. It doesn't matter whether you have the capacity in terms of funds, whether you are a leader in a political party. Declare your intentions. Tell Nigerians how you think is going to be done. I think Nigerian citizens will start buying into positive ideas and vote out incompetent leaders.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ezeribe. I will ask the same question to Honorable Gbandi regarding Peter Obi. Do you have anything to add regarding this topic? That is to say, if Peter Obi declares his intention to run for the president from 2023, do you think he stands a huge chance? Do you think his campaign will generate the same force the NSAS movement generated?
Well, let me start. I listened to the last two speakers. I will probably get to this part, especially the second speaker after me. Not because it's my party, which is the African Democratic Congress. Moghalu is a seasoned banker who is the former deputy CBN governor. He has worked for United Nations, coordinated, a multinational event that led to the rebuilding of nation. He championed the introduction of the BVN in Nigeria, which is one of the most success stories of the banking sector. So he is running as a candidate. And so I think, in fairness, without trying to be prejudiced because it's from my party, in fairness, such a candidate is very, very credible. Also in the league of Peter Obi and co. And so I think it will not be fair to write off Peter Obi or Moghalu to say that they are not a credible candidate. No, they are. Yes, I understand the underlying factors he analyzed, which is totally correct. That the godfathers and the money bags are actually, they play the same. But one thing I actually beg to disagree with my compatriots, that when we hold this notion that our fate is already sealed, then we are doomed. So I do not agree to hold that notion that the status quo, which has been in place now, it's not changeable. That is sacrosanct. It is no. I disagree with that. Otherwise, we can all pack our bags, go to bed, and sleep and wait until our death. The Germans, where I'm happy you belong, say that the hope die last. They say hope not sharp and blessed. That's what we say in Germany. You can't give up without trying. And so I think I disagree totally to believe that the godfathers are so powerful that they can continue to maintain our life and rule our life. And no, it is left for us, because when people ask me, for instance, what is the plan of Peter Obi, or what is the plan of Kenneth Gbandi, or what is the plan of Moghalu to change Nigeria? I said, no, I don't have any plan. My plan is your plan. What is your plan? What are you suggesting we do to make sure that we change the status quo? And that's why I want to address that question. Yes, I have a thinking. I have my own game plan, but my own game plan can only be effective if all of us collectively agree on a game plan, irrespective of political affiliation, to change it. So yes, I would say that Peter Obi, to be cross-party discussion, Peter Obi is a candidate. It's a very credible candidate. The only problem I have, I just spoke with one professor from the United States on my way from Germany to Nigeria, and I'm saying that in all fairness, without political bias. He said that the issue he has with Peter Obi is that Peter Obi, like Mr. Iru also probably tactically also analyzed, the issue with someone like Peter Obi is that can he call the shots without taking pressure from the godfathers? And the question is that most people think that he doesn't have that stamina to take the pressure from the godfathers. Then he might buckle up at the end of the day, to sue the godfathers. Compared to Moghalu, Moghalu has been a man of intellect, which people know that probably he is more to take a personal opinion without, bowing down to the godfathers. And again, to also, add to what Mr. Iruha also have said, in ADC, for instance, our target is youth, the brand new ones, where we want to de-emphasize the rule of money, but also to emphasize the rule of competence. And so if you go look at some parties like AA, to be honest with you, or White PD, or the ADC, we play more emphasis on capability and capacity more than on money bags. And what we are trying to do come 2023 is to make sure that we, this party, irrespective of the core political party, gather together to have a strategy to kick out these money bags, because the young is the leader of tomorrow, or we continue to be the leader of tomorrow, will be a mirage if we do not remove money politics, money bags from playing politics. So yes, like I said, in summary, yes, Peter Obi is a candidate, is a credible one for that matter. Moghalu is a candidate, is a credible candidate for that matter. From my own perspective, they are all both from the southeast for that matter, and I think they are both qualified to rule this country. And all we need to do is to look within them, within those two, or within those people that they've mentioned, my past speakers have mentioned, like Carlo Oji and the rest of them. We can say within those people who is more credible or the most credible. That is probably going to be the debate we are going to take. But I basically think that the South has credible candidates, given the political terrain to play a part in Nigerian politics, in central politics.
Okay, I have a follow-up question, but before then, let me introduce Mr. Nnamdi Achono and Ms. Onyinye Ndubisi. Nnamdi, can you hear me? Can you unmute Nnamdi Achono? Hello, Nnamdi Achono, can you unmute? Okay, perfect.
I can hear you. Clear, yes.
Okay.
I do apologize for my late coming due to I was coming down from Hamburg and there was a lot of traffic, so I couldn't make it. It's better to be late than be late. You are welcome.
Okay, thank you. Let me quickly introduce Nnamdi Achono. Normally, Nnamdi Achono is the National Vice President of Nigerian Community in Germany. He is the founder of Indigenous Nigerians in Kiel. He's also the Assistant Treasurer Afro Germany Schleswig-Holstein, and a senior member of the Foreigners Forum in Kiel. He's a principled and disciplined man. He's my good friend, and we've been piloting the affairs of Nigerian community in Kiel together. Welcome, Mr. Nnamdi Achono.
Thank you, Mr. Odiwanle.
And I will also want to welcome Ms. Onyinye Belinda Ndubisi. Can you please unmute? Ms. Ndubisi, okay, perfect.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for the invite. I'm excited to join this interactive session, especially to talk about our country as it relates to the upcoming 2023 election and how we can all contribute to it. And thanks for the invite once again, and I hope we come out with very impactful deliberations. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, just a brief introduction of Ndubisi. He's a program analyst, gender and human rights in the United Nations Development Program. So once again, I want to welcome Mr. Achono and Ms. Ndubisi. So back to Hon. Gbandi, just a follow-up question. Based on what you just said regarding Mr. Moghalu, from my understanding, with the way you explain things about him, it seems that he has already declared his interest.
That's correct. That's correct, sir.
Okay, and I also understand that you are also a member of the ADC party. Why do you think? Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's correct, sir.
Yeah. Why do you think Kingsley Moghalu stands out? Even though I follow Kingsley Moghalu on Twitter, and everything he's been tweeting, everything that comes out from his mouth seems completely different from the things I've heard from the previous contestants or previous politicians. Why do you think Kingsley Moghalu stands out from the candidates that have declared their interest for the 2023 election?
Well, like I said, coming from Germany, where we have basically where credibility, professionalism is at stake, and having led the Nigerian diaspora 4 years in Germany, 4 years in Europe, and also coordinated the Nigerian worldwide Nigerian global diaspora as a coordinating chair. we have had a lot of interaction with the past president. I've hosted President Yar'Adua in Germany. I've hosted President Jonathan in Germany. I've also co-hosted President Buhari and Osibanjo in Germany as the chairman of the Nigerian Diaspora Organization Europe. We can see a total deviation, from, in Germany, look at the Boris Johnson of UK. Look at his age and look at his credentials. Look at the France president. Look at his age and his credentials and the rest of them. Then look at people who are contesting. Bola Tinubu, one of the frontline candidates, just came back from London. In fact, most of the issues he is attending on rallies he is attending in Nigeria, he can't even afford to stand. He's staying on a wheelchair, on a chair to address a campaign. And you look at age-wise, experience-wise. Moghalu, like I said, is a former deputy central bank governor. Introduced the BVN, which is the pride of Africa as of today. You can transfer your money, not even in Germany. You transfer your money today, and within 3 seconds you have it. It's part of BVN, revolution and the rest of them. He has engineered beyond the United Nations to engineer the development of countries like Rwanda, where they have issues after the wars and the rest of them, and successfully at that also. So it is not surprising that somebody like that, have the credibility and the knowledge, understand what international economics is all about. Not individuals who probably play money politics. And that's why Nigeria is not progressing, in spite of all our endowments. That people are playing money politics. They just give you money, they award contracts, no economic policy behind the scene. So the message you correctly said, is coming from Moghalu, who understands the power of economics, who understands the power of analytics, knowing where we stand, where we're coming from, and who is coming with a track record of not only a financial expert, but also in international nation building. So when you compare his pedigree, his background, with kind of messages is coming out, which is very, very clear. It's obvious that his policies are quite astounding. Well, the challenge will be, will ADC and himself have the chance? And that's where, like I said at the beginning, it's left for us to work towards that as a Nigerian. Even if it's not a Moghalu, but it's another younger candidate, it's left for us, rather than to write the candidate off, to say because of the fact that they will have money backs in PDP, APC, it doesn't have any chance. Then that would be a mistake we're making, and we're not going to get out from this problem. So whatever the candidate that eventually emerge from Nigeria, especially from the South and Southeast, we should be able to rally around such a credible candidate. We should be able to talk among ourselves to say, with all these candidates who have a better policy, and pick